Don't settle for a fake snarler when you can have Beard Brothers' premium range of all-natural sausages. Proudly New Zealand made, you'll find them fresh in your local Foursquare, New World and Pack and Save. Beard Brothers, crafted with care, the old school way.
Are on the platform, and just to bring you up to date, the stuff we have uncovered this morning. On a drop-down menu on its complaints form, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has a list of people it considers broadcasters. The platform is not on that list, but surprisingly, the Free Speech Union is, and New Zealand Doctors Speaking Out for Science is. We will be talking to Alison Goodwin from New Zealand Doctors Speaking Out for Science after our next interview at around 9:30. But the BSA have confirmed, the Free Speech Union have confirmed this morning, they have looked at the complaints form, and the BSA's own site gives an option for you to complain about the Free Speech Union. It has classified them as a broadcaster in its complaints form. It does not classify the platform as a broadcaster. Now, I think that might be information that our next guest is interested in. He wrote a pretty thundering piece yesterday on his Kiwi blog about the political tensions or risks of the government around this issue of the Broadcasting Standards Authority. He is David Farrar, not to be confused with my good friend David Farrar. David Farrar from Kiwi blog. He's a pollster and a long-time political commentator. David, nice to see you again, mate.
Hey, good to be back, Sean. I've just been going to the BSA website as I've been listening to you too.
Yeah, you've got to actually lodge the complaint. But it has been confirmed. Jelaine Heather was on earlier talking about it. This gets weirder and weirder, doesn't it?
It is very weird because the Free Speech Union is obviously not a broadcaster. Maybe lots of people complain about them to the BSA, but it is just very weird. And I'm not surprised, though, that the platform isn't on, because the BSA has had years to say we think the platform is a broadcaster. They are required to send you a form to fill in every year if they think you're a broadcaster. There's $100,000
They say
fine
they've
if
changed
they don't.
those rules. They say that we can make up different rules, basically.
Well, I'm just going off the Broadcasting Act. The Broadcasting Act says this is a statutory requirement of broadcasters, and I actually think what the BSA have done is close to entrapment, because they've basically said, we're not going to tell you up front if we think you're a broadcaster. We're not going to have a discussion with you. We're just going to wait for a complaint, and then we're going to have a secret meeting to decide you are a broadcaster, and then we'll decide whether to uphold the complaint, which is just the worst possible way to go about it.
All right, but there is a broader issue here, as we've highlighted, with an outfit like the FSU. What is the, and I want to bring back, because you wrote an interesting blog yesterday, what is the political risk for the current government of not dealing with this issue, which I have to say seems to have taken off?
Well, I think there's more political risk for the National Party in this, because I think there are a lot of people who are very upset about what they see as overreach. And we saw the leaders of ACT and the leaders of New Zealand First come out within almost minutes, certainly hours at the most, saying this is overreach. We're the MPs, we define who's a broadcaster, you guys can't just decide this in secret. National at first said nothing, really, but then the minister went on Media Watch. And
he did that interview on Thursday, though, to be fair, just as the issue had kicked off.
So it was early on, but he seemed very relaxed about it. He said, oh, this is a big thing. We're happy for it to go to court, etc. Not, I think, showing any regard for the impact on media like yourself, like Chris Lynch, like Reality Check Radio, who none of you have $100,000 for a court case, but also the weaponization of complaints processes, which I know a lot about.
Yeah.
You guys would be having 20 complaints a week probably that you'd have to deal with. What was good, though, as you know, and you've talked about this, I was pleasantly surprised, was Prime Minister then came out on Monday saying, I think this is overreached 3 times. They had sympathy for you. So I thought, wow, this is all settled. Now, all 3 party leaders have said, this is bad. But then the minister came out again saying something quite different in tone to the Prime Minister.
I'm going to say, in fairness, Lloyd Burr wrote that story, and he's not a journalist bottom. That story on what the minister had said walking into Parliament could equally have read, why is anyone regulated by the BSA? I think Lloyd Burr, who's a bit of a liar and doesn't like me, put his own spin on that story. So I'm prepared to let... I don't know that was a change of attitude by the minister.
Well, I hope not. But there's still... Let's just put it like this. Act in New Zealand first. No one can have any doubt about where they stand. National, it is not clear. It is not clear because you've had different stances at different time from different people. Like I said, I thought what the Prime Minister said was really good. And I've certainly had feedback from a number of people who have been quite dismayed that National has been quite silent on this because, these are people generally on the centre-right who knows their views don't survive in the legacy media very well. And that it's independent media that actually allows their views to get...
Well, is this an attempt? You said the BSA were trying to entrap me and others. Is this an attempt to silence independent media? And I would note that the media that the BSA has traditionally had sway off have trust ratings of an average of around 25%.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust has been going on. Look, I can't read the minds of the BSA, but everything they've done process-wise is terrible and unfair. Yes, there is a debate you can have about the definition of a broadcaster, but to not tell people they think could be broadcasters that we think you're broadcasters for years on end, to ignore other statutory requirements, and then to say, we're going to wait for a complaint and then have a secret meeting to decide if we think you are a broadcaster, which means that you may be found not to have upheld a code that you never were told
I'm totally unaware
that you have to uphold.
Yeah.
And that's entrapment. That's basically trying to say, we're going to do everything possible to not have you aware of what we think, so then we can spring it on you.
Okay, what about these new revelations today? They have, in some ways, categorised the Free Speech Union and the anti-vax group New Zealand Doctors Speaking Out for Science. They've classified them as broadcasters. That's pretty concerning.
It's just weird.
Don't settle for a fake snarler when you can have Beard Brothers' premium range of all-natural sausages. Proudly New Zealand made, you'll find them fresh in your local Foursquare, New World and Pack and Save. Beard Brothers, crafted with care the old school way.